Friday, November 27th. There's no bell today, guys, because we closed 3 hours earlier. We had Thanksgiving yesterday, so markets didn't trade. We finished the day up about 8 points in the SPX. So let's dive right in. Let's break this market down, wrap the week up, and see what the top stocks were on the day. We'll take a look at the S&P 500, guys, and we see we're up about 8 points. The futures are still trading. However, we look at yesterday's trade and it was quiet. What do you expect? The US markets were closed, however the future contracts still traded. We finished the day down about 12 points yesterday. We opened back up at 6, only to rally about 20 points or so in the overnight session. And then we opened the day, guys, and we just couldn't get any buyers to take us higher. We just got stuck at this level, and then we rolled over. Let's cruise on over and take a look at the SPX and see how the week broke down. We came into this week expecting 71 points of expected move, guys. It was a smaller expected move because we had one less day of trade. So Monday happened, we kind of camped the midline and started to peel off of it. Tuesday hit, we gapped up, and then we just camped that upper edge. We did the same on Wednesday. And then today, we kind of peeled off of it a bit, only to come right back down to get a slight bounce. But for the most part, the options market priced in 71 points, and we're seeing about 80 points. So about 9 points off. The options market got pretty close. We'll come back to the SPX later. I'm going to let the option chain settle here, and then we'll get the expected move for next week. But let's move on over and take a look at the Nasdaq, guys. And we look at our Nasdaq, and we see the Nasdaq is up almost 1% today. It was the tech safe haven trade for the most part. You can see people piling right into the Nasdaq. When we compare it to our Big Five, we see that the Big Five was up 0.72% on the day. So it slightly lagged our Nasdaq index, but it helped lift the S&Ps ever so slightly. 0.7% doesn't seem like a lot, but these are some big company stocks. Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. These guys are over $8 trillion combined market cap. We take a look at this on a daily, and we have to be careful here. The Big Five is looking kind of toppy here. It's either going to get that burst through, or this could be rolling over here, maybe in the coming weeks or so. We have to watch this trade very closely because how much weight these guys have on our S&Ps, not just in the Nasdaq, guys. They could tear apart these S&Ps easily, being down 2-3%. So on a quiet session like today, how are the small caps faring? Well, we take a look at our Russell 2000 futures, guys. We see it's up about 0.4% on the day. Got back-to-back trading sessions with wicks, and we're just kind of camping within 10 points of an all-time high in the Russell. We take it a little bit further, and we look at the sectors across the board. First thing I want to go to is the financials. We see the financials today are down about 0.3%. However, on the week, you can see they gapped up and they had a nice week. We finished higher than where we started this week in the financials. So it's going to be interesting to watch if the financials get some profit taking going into next week. Speaking of profit taking, we're seeing that today in the XLE, down about 1.17%. However, on the week, it is finishing higher. These are sectors we have to be careful about, the financials and the energy. Are we going to see retracement and back into the tech trade, the safe haven trades of our Big Five stocks? Even you got Tesla up 2% today. Tesla is just defying all odds. If you take a look at Tesla's market cap, their market cap's $555 billion. When you compare that to Facebook, Facebook's about $790 billion. So Tesla is getting very big, and it's about to be put into the S&P 500. Enough talking about Tesla. Let's keep on going and taking a look at our sectors. We look at our sectors across the board, and we see that the healthcare sector was our leading performer today. So we had energy as our lagger, and we had healthcare as our leader on the day, with financials you can see right up in there. And just kind of, it's a mix across the board. So what's our advanced decline line showing on this shortened day of trade? Well, we take a look at our AD line, and just how you see about half the sectors down, half the sectors up, you're seeing it about the same in the S&P 100, 48 up and 53 down. So it's a mixed day across the board, and people really don't want to buy today. They're not at their desks, so there's not much trade happening today. So we see that the equities are up for the most part across the board. How is our bond market doing? Well, we take a look at the bonds, guys, and we can see the bonds are up 0.6%. So the bonds are up with stocks, and that's a red flag right there. That's red flag number one to watch out for going into next week. We can take a closer look at the bonds, and they were just bidding up throughout the trading session, the short one to say the least. But we look at the bigger picture, bonds are trying to get some room back up to this 177 line. Let's take a little bit further and see what the volatility traders are doing on a day like today. So we take a look at the VIX futures. These are the Decembers, and they are actually up on the day, 0.77%. So the VIX is trying to find a bottom here, and it was getting to a scary level. We take a look at our VVIX, guys, and the VVIX was up over 2.5% today. So that's red flag number two. Seeing the bonds up with the equities and seeing the VVIX up with the bonds and with the equities, guys. So traders were getting back into volatility going into this weekend. We take a look at the VVIX, guys, and I mentioned on Wednesday's video that we saw a bid into the close in the VVIX if it could resume on Friday. And we saw we gapped down, however, it got right back very fast, and it rallied into the final 2 hours of trade. So VVIX is going to be interesting to look going into next week's trade. Let's see if we could get back up above that 110 line. We could be seeing a little pullback here across the board. Let's take a look at the US dollar and see what it's up to today. So we pop up the dollar index, guys, and the first thing I notice is we're cracking 92. We're at 91.83, and we're heading south, guys. This is very alarming, and we'll see how low this can go. But on a bigger picture, we put it on a weekly, you can see we haven't been at this level since about April, May of 2018. So it's at levels that it's been a while since we've been here. Maybe we crack the 90s, guys. And if we see a leg down here in the dollar, that's going to be very promising for our metals. And we take a look at gold today, guys. Spikage in volume here. And we take a look at it, and it was just a nosedive right at the open today. Trying to find a bottom. Gold falls a little bit more, but we're looking at the area right around here. Could maybe consolidate here for a week or so until the dollar is ready to leg down. And if we see a leg down in the dollar, we could see gold get a quick pop back up to around this area. We'll see what it does, but it ultimately is going to come down to what the dollar is going to do. Let's take a look at the silver, guys, and we see silver got a little bit of a hit today. I've been saying the higher lows it was putting in, but we just got a slight crack. So now it's like doing an M here. So we'll see what this does and how much lower silver could go. Silver could be getting into a nice loading period if it takes a little bit more of a pullback. It's slightly lagging to what gold is doing, but we'll see what it does in the coming days. And we move on to Bitcoin, guys, and Bitcoin finally saw the pullback. You can see Bitcoin taking a huge drop, guys, and it was down over $2,000, guys. Bitcoin took it to the chin, and it happened when the markets were closed. Go figure. Thanksgiving happens, people got out of Bitcoin. Huge profit taking here. So we'll see what it does in the coming days. Look for 14 to 15K to play a solid floor if we still have another leg down, guys. But let's move on and let's look at our SPX and let's see what the expected move is going into next week. We're closing above the upper edge. That's all fine and dandy. But what is next week's saying in the option chain? So we go to the trade tab and we're going to go to the December 4th. That's 7 days out. This options market is pricing in a $70.50 of expected move. That's taking from the midline of this close. That's 36.38 is going to be the midline for next week. So let me input these values and I'll be right back. So there you have it, guys. 70.5 points of expected move, guys. So 70.5 up would take us to 37.08. Now 70.5 down takes us to 35.67. So these are the expected moves for next week, and if we hit that upper edge, that is going to be an all-time high, guys. We'll see if we have some momentum over the weekend, and we'll see how that carries over. Makes the most sense for me. I think we could see a lower edge of the expected move to be tagged. We haven't hit it in quite some time. It hasn't been for over a month ago. You can see right there, guys, back in the Halloween week, going into Halloween from October 26th. That was a lower edge hit. Then we went back up to the upper. We were in the middle, and then upper this week. So a pullback makes the most sense, but we can't predict that. This market can keep on going, guys. There you guys have it for the stock market breakdown, guys. And going into next week, we have some sort of guidance. But let's see what the top stocks on the day were in this short trading session. So we go over to the scan tab, guys. I hit my scan, and we take a look. Coming in at number 3 is going to go to Zoom Video Communications, guys. Now, Zoom is a video conference stock, and you can see it was up today 6.29%, guys. We take a look at their market cap, and their market cap's $134 billion. It's a big boy stock, guys. We take a look at Zoom on a year to date. It's up large, 586%. This stock's up large today. Maybe people are afraid we go back into a lockdown. This is a lockdown stock. People use this to communicate within their businesses. And we take a look at Zoom on an expected move, guys. And let's take a look at this thing. Well, we see this week we came just a hair short of that upper edge. The prior week, we came right up to that upper edge. So we're having back-to-back weeks knocking on that upper edge after seeing, you can see this week right here, a huge drop down. So it's have a lot of recovering to do, but this trade is largely due to COVID. If we're going into a lockdown, this stock has a good shot of hitting 510, the upper edge for next week. But look for 445 to play a role of support if we see some profit taking next week into Zoom. Moving on to number 2 hot stock on the day, guys, goes to Canopy Growth. Canopy Growth Corporation, up almost 8% on the day today. We're seeing a spike in volume, guys. And when we take a look at on a year to date, it's up about 44% on the day. This is a marijuana stock, just quickly glancing. And we take a look at the expected move on this thing, and we can see, well, it blew past this week's. You can see well over after having an efficient week and an explosion up. The stock's getting some action coming into it. Look for next week 31.32 to play the upper edge, and look for 26.68 to play the lower edge. That means within 1 standard deviation of the time, Canopy Growth should fall in between this barrier. We'll see how it does, but on the bigger picture, it's been on a nice tear since the start of October. We'll see if it can continue sizzling into next week. And coming in at number 1 hot stock on the day, guys, it goes to Sorrento Therapeutics. Now, this is a stock that just barely made it on my scan. It actually just hit $2 billion market cap. You can see $2.1 billion in market cap today, up 18% on the day. Now, this stock is a COVID stock, guys. They are contracting to develop a gene-encoded antibody for COVID-19. We take a look at this thing on a year to date, it's up large, up 140%. However, when we look at the expected move, this stock could carry momentum into next week. We take a closer look at this, and we can see, well, 2 weeks prior, we had an upper edge. This week, we came down only to come right back up today. So, huge spike coming into it today. Can momentum carry into next week? If it can, look for 936 to play the upper edge. However, these are plays that we could see not just a 1 standard deviation, possibly a 2 standard deviation, and we'd be cruising up to almost $12. However, if it wants to pull back next week, look for around $7, $6.94 to play a role of support. There you have it, guys, for the hot stocks of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the market breakdown. If you've enjoyed the video, guys, hit the thumbs up button. It really means a lot when you guys show some support and you hit the like button. Have any questions or comments? Leave them down below. What are some hot stocks you guys are looking at going into next week? Leave a comment down below. I'll take a look at it, and maybe we'll talk about it on Monday. But if you're new to the channel, guys, I do this daily. I really appreciate it if you subscribe, guys. I have not missed a breakdown since July 27th, excluding my birthday on October 19th. But every other day, I've gotten a video up, guys. But today was a weird day. Closing at 1 o'clock. It's not your typical trading session. But I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, guys. And I hope you have a great weekend, guys. But on that note, I will see you on Monday. Have a great night. Take care. Peace!